Last big project we did was build it was a retaining wall. And we had people coming in with their donkeys, picking up rocks to kind of help build the rock wall. So the idea of like volunteerism and supporting one another, and I think some of it is because like they see us coming and they see us working, so it motivates them to work as well and come alongside of us. So
That's so great.
Yeah, that dependency on one another and really trying to get everybody to moving in one direction
together. Yeah.
So and that's one of the I guess the piece that I enjoy about being part of 6 Degrees, that we have a hand in it. Some of our donors have gone down as well, and then for the community to see them, it's a different connection.
Yeah.
And I think if you can appeal to people emotionally, and that you have that interaction with them, I think it has a very different impact, which is part of the reason that I miss going down there.
Welcome to the Give and Grow DSM podcast, the show where we share compelling stories of the nonprofits shaping Iowa's future. Host Siobhan Spain dedicates 3 episodes to each organization, offering listeners unique perspectives through interviews with the nonprofit's leader, an active donor, and a beneficiary of its programming. Give and Grow DSM is a philanthropic initiative founded by Andy and Sarah Suzannin and the RIA Group, dedicated to serving the organizations and individuals in our community who need it most. Learn more and listen in at giveandgrowdsm.com. You're listening to our 3rd of 3 episodes dedicated to the nonprofit 6 Degrees of Separation. 6 Degrees works to build a successful and sustainable school system in Labiche, Haiti. The organization was created as a result of the devastating earthquake in Haiti in 2010. 6 local women decided to find a way to help. So over the last 10 years, the school has gone from a few tarps and 40 students to 10 classrooms and 160 students. Labiche is the hometown of our guest, Osnel Vilmael. Osnel is an advisor relationship consultant at Principal Financial. He is also a board member and beneficiary of 6 Degrees. Welcome, Oz.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
Can I call you Oz?
Indeed.
Okay,
Indeed.
Awesome. So first, let's learn about you. Could you tell us about how you came to live and work in Des Moines? It's pretty far from Labiche.
Yes. Interestingly enough, if I go take a step back, and when I moved from Haiti and first living in South Florida, which was totally shocker, because when I look at the town that I grew up in, we didn't have any electricity. We walked everywhere. You rarely see cars. And I actually remember my first time seeing a car was a non-for-profit that used to come into town and help with the Protestant church that we had not too far away. So I remember we used to line up on the side of the roads. Everybody's just waiting to see and sharing. And it was just a welcoming sight. So it was from there, then to South Florida. Grew up in South Florida primarily. And then Principal gave me my first offer out of college, and I've been here for 20 years now. So,
wow, that's fantastic.
Yeah, long venture.
Yes, it is. So what age did you come to the U.S., and how did that work?
Yeah, so initially I was 10 years old when I moved to the States, and my dad was staying in the States initially, so he filed for us, and we came over, first time getting an airplane. I even remember looking down at the little cars. Well, I say little because it's so high, and that was my first time being so high and watching the little cars. It looks like they were little toy cars that was just driving around. And so the whole experience was very surreal. And so just kind of moved to South Florida there. So it's, my dad, it was quite a venture for him, because I know initially he actually was living in the DR, and then was able to come to the U.S., the old wave airboat, which for that reason, that man will never go near the ocean again, because that was enough of a traumatizing experience for him.
Oh, wow.
But he came here. I remember he worked 2 jobs. Gosh, he worked his 2 jobs all the way until I was done with college. And just to be able to kind of support us and, put us in the right environment to find success where we can. So. But it's been a venture, and today I look back and seeing like, okay, where have where have we grown from, my little town in Haiti to South Florida with my dad and working his 2 jobs. And now I actually have a college degree where my dad, he actually just went to elementary school. So he
Wow.
never really went that far into it, and then being able to get a master's degree. And I know he's very proud of it, but for me, just the steps that our generations has taken helps me to position my daughters now, who's
Right.
going to be in middle school and trying to go to, what are they going to be
Yeah.
able to achieve as well.
So what did you get your master's in?
It was in business administration at Drake University.
Oh,
So,
great. That's
yes.
nice connection as well. I didn't know you went locally to college too. So that probably
Yes.
helped you get to know Iowa and know that it's okay here, right?
Oh, yeah.
I hope so. And you have siblings. How many siblings?
So I have 2 siblings.
Okay.
One of them, Marlene, that still lives in Iowa, and my brother is that in Houston.
Wow.
So
And where are your parents?
parents still live in South Florida.
Okay.
Cannot convince them to move to Iowa. So we only
Is
have
it the weather?
slightly. That would be a big part of it. So they've come to visit, but the
That's
cold
it.
weather,
Yeah.
it's not happening for them, unfortunately. So
Well, we're glad you're here. Absolutely. So I would love to hear the 6 Degrees story from your perspective. So what was it like at the beginning when you were first connected to these founding women?
yeah. So initially, I thought it was gonna be we were not gonna go as in depth. The name itself, 6 Degrees. So
Yeah.
the goal was to provide scholarships to 6 students
Okay.
in the town. So which that worked fine. That was probably the first year. And then we did a backpack run as well, where we collected backpacks and school supplies.
Fantastic,
So
yep.
it was great, supporting them. They were the school was running the show, and we were just, going to provide a scholarship to those 6 students. And we were very small back then too, so
Yeah.
it kind of helped out. And it was the second year that I remember Jane and I were going down, and our driver, who also kind of helps us run things in Haiti, was telling us that the school had lost their funding because they had
Oh, that's
another
right.
non-for-profit that was helping to support them out of Florida, and they didn't have enough funding to support them anymore.
Okay.
So it's whether 6 Degrees had found a way to assist them, or they were going to go in and shut down the school.
Okay.
So
Now, this time, was it the only school in town, or give us a little picture of what
Yeah.
the landscape literally
So,
was like there?
Yeah, at that time, I mean, there's a lot of private schools in Haiti. That's primarily
Okay.
of the schools that you have.
Okay.
The public school system is not quite on par yet, unfortunately, especially for the lower grades where you need a little bit more support for the kids.
Yes.
So the support, and that's where the opportunity presents itself to have a private school. I think there was a big opportunity that came up in just being caring and having that different approach to education from the America's perspective versus Haiti's perspective in the value system that we place on education. And we care deeply about it, and it's always been one of the foundations. If you want to change something, if you can make a lot of changes to education. If you can educate someone, then you can open up their minds to bigger and other things, and
Absolutely,
open
yeah.
up the world and the capabilities and things that they can reach in life.
Yeah.
So, and that's really the piece that kind of resonated with us in being taking a hand and foremost in education. There's plenty of other things that we could have done. We could have done food packaging or
Right.
just like other
Sure.
supports. And there's a lot of organizations that do those
that.
things, and for them, I think it works. But for us, we wanted to take a more hands-on approach, and that school kind of presented that opportunity.
Yeah, it seemed
to come
like
in.
it was kismet, and I'm sure, there are lots of options, and it probably helped not to try to be everything to everybody, but really concentrate so you can have those metrics and really feel like you have a real impact.
Yes, and that was a unique thing because there were not a lot of organization that gives to Haiti. Sometimes there's no sense of accountability, and that was why it was so unique for us to be able to be able to go down to Haiti, and we used to make 2 trips a year. And just seeing our faces, knowing that we were actually vested in it,
right.
and that there was a sense of accountability
Makes a difference, right.
in there. I think that went very far. I remember when we first went down, we were building the Sukop homes from the
right.
safety homes from Sukop Manufacturing. So they gave us a donation of those. And when we were first building them, there was probably a group of, I don't know, 5 or 6 guys there that they could have easily give a hand to kind of help us build them. I said, I don't have any interest in this. This is not my town. This is not going to do anything for me. So that was that initial mindset, and that's the mindset that we wanted to move away from. And we fast forward to today. The last big project we did was build it was a wall, a retaining wall. And we had people coming in with their donkeys, picking up rocks to kind of help build the rock wall. So the idea of like volunteerism and supporting one another, and I think some of it is because like they see us coming and they see us working, so it motivates them to work as well and come alongside of us. So
that's so great.
Yeah, that dependency on one another and really trying to get everybody to moving in one direction
together. Yeah.
So and that's one of the I guess the piece that I enjoy about being part of 6 Degrees, that we have a hand in it. Some of our donors have gone down as well, and then for the community to see them, it's a different connection.
Yeah.
And I think if you can appeal to people emotionally, and that you had that interaction with them, I think it has a very different impact, which is part of the reason that I miss going down there.
Yeah.
Because we need to get back, once things stabilize, so we can kind
When
of.
do you think that will be? It's been really hard to know how the political chaos and the gang violence, and this was all from this current situation kind of stemmed from the assassination of the president in 2021. Is that correct?
Yep. That's
Do you
exactly
see
right.
hope for being able to visit again, and how are the kids doing?
Yeah. So it, I guess twofold. Because we are very remote from where everything is taking place, which is in Port-au-Prince. So thankfully, like our school, in days where they shut down the schools in the capital, ours wasn't really impacted. We're far enough away from it. It doesn't attract that type of attention.
Good.
There's not much going there. Most of the folks over there are homesteaders, so really just growing and farming livestock and then just kind of feed their family. So there's nothing for the gangs to take over. There's no value.
Right.
So they kind of let those people be. And I would probably say education is probably one of the highest employable career in that area. Because you don't have banking.
Right.
You don't have electricity. It's non-existent. And really a lot of the folks, the way that they make money is by selling and reselling. To buy something and then go resell it somewhere else. So let's say we buy something in Des Moines, we'll go to a smaller town that has a lower population. They'll pay a premium for it because of convenience.
Yes.
So, and that's kind of how most people, can make a living. And the second part of your question was, what was the second part of that question again?
How are the kids doing these days?
Kids, it's good. It's good. And speaking of which, one of the reasons that we attract a little bit more kids into our school is 2 things. One, the people see that that we care about the education, that it's not just a way for us to make money, which the kids, they pay a fee to come to the school, but it's not impactful. And I want to say it might be like $10, $15. Okay. So there's some skin in the game.
Which is not a bad thing, right?
Exactly, as opposed to just getting it for free.
Yeah.
And then another thing that we do too, we require some volunteerism from parents.
That's right. Jane mentioned that.
And parents and kids alike that are older to come in and tutor as well.
Oh, nice.
So with the kids, sentiment, how do they feel? Kids are doing good. We just graduated our first three girls from when we first came in. So graduated. They passed their national exam, which is really big in Haiti to be able to move on to go to college.
Wow.
So we've had 3 of them, and we're waiting for 1 more to take their exam. The attraction for our school, too, has to do with the fact that we provide lunch, which, as you can imagine, the basic needs, right? Food, water, and I put education on there.
Yeah.
Because if you can feed them, and they can pay a little bit more attention longer, and I think that contributes to the educational aspects as well. There was in Haiti, a lot of the schools, they typically let out after 4 hours. So you might have like an 8 to 12, and then another batch would come in from 12 to 4. Well, part of the reason for that is because, there's no food.
Right.
So you come in, you do your schooling, you go back home. So being able feed the students has had tremendous impact on not just in education, but also knowing the fact that they're not going to go hungry that day.
Right.
And that was big enough. It's really just the basic things
Wow.
that are needed. And I think as we grow, I think we'll be in a position to really make some big impacts and really take 6 degrees to the next stage, and being able to put these students into some growth, not just I'm going to graduate and there's nothing here for me to do, but really trying to impact them differently, make them think differently of what the
Seeing
opportunities
what's
might be.
next.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a lifelong connection to these kids, right?
Yes.
And that's what it takes to do it right. It seems like
It's a lot of patience, and I credit Jane in keeping me sane in all of this because sometimes it does get frustrating, but knowing and I think I had a conversation with Jane about it. I'm like, Jane, it feels like I'm not gonna realize the fruits of this labor until later on, like well past. And she said, well, and obviously what's going on around the world, not just Haiti, but the U.S. or Ukraine or Israel. It's hard.
It is.
People are suffering. People are struggling.
Absolutely.
But she made a good point. She said, you could only do what you can. You go one person at a time, and the hope is as you impact one person, that they'll eventually have an impact on somebody else, and then together over time, we'll go ahead and move the lever.
And see, you're a perfect example, right? Like, look at your journey and what's happened. It's pretty amazing what can happen in one generation.
Yeah, it's I have to remind myself that I'm still first generation Haitian. So, but truly, I think there's and that's one of the things that I like about America, and that's one thing I would love to be able to replicate in Haiti, if I could, to be able to get the resources. And English resources to Haiti. Think about the world of IT. Think about the world of business.
Yes.
Think about from a technology standpoint. If you could actually educate a population, you pretty much open up the whole door for them too. There's really no limit. And I think just having that type of access, I know it'll take time because even right now our language in Haiti is still Creole and French. But I would love to be able to have like a school in English. And it's not to say I'm not shunning our native language or anything, or the French and Creole, but I'm looking at it from the sense of what's going to have the biggest impact.
And give them more opportunity.
Yes.
So Jane mentioned you're looking for, she was hopeful about getting solar panels in order to be able to generate energy, but also connectivity.
Yep.
Correct.
Connectivity was huge. And I love Jen's ideas.
Yeah.
So, and this goes along the way of exposing the kids to the capabilities, what's possible. And the way that we would structure it is, this is still, high level, was really to, let's say we have one of our donors that had any interest in having a conversation. It could be just the fact that the kids are, we sometimes give English lessons, but just being able to have a donor to actually have a conversation, or just donate, 30 minutes of their time to further expose a kid to just the language aspects of it. And you think about, okay, once they get to the point where they actually understand the language, and then being able to talk about a specific career like that they're in,
right?
It's mind-boggling, and it would be that would be the holy grail for me to get to that point.
It's good to have big dreams, right? And keep them in view. And that kind of leads me to the board. Tell me about the board of 6 Degrees and what What is it like to be on the board? And it seems like there's some young people on there. Is that intentional? And what kind of conversations are you having about 6 Degrees' future?
Yeah. It's a very interesting board, and part of the reason that I love it is, we have all people of different backgrounds on there, and we have our fights, and we talk through it and trying to figure out. I mean, it's real. It's a real problem
It's
that we're trying
real.
to solve, and there's no
Right.
blueprint for it.
Uh-huh.
And we are kind of working through it at the same time, but it's a great group of folks to be partnered with, and I will say they re-energize me every time we meet. It reminds me of why I do what I do, and I feel like I actually get a lot out of it. Maybe one can even say more than the. I don't know. From my perspective, that's my one. That's why I get involved. Outside of trying to help those out, but help the kids in Haiti. But the connection that I've developed with the board and those people that I will, if they ever decide to move on somewhere that I will miss them like dearly, genuinely miss them. But we work together on all sort of things. Like right now, we're trying to solve for what the future of 6 Degrees look like. For the past, since we've been in operation, we've always kind of utilized somebody else's place to house the students to do the classrooms.
Yes,
So
right.
it's been, so today we are in a church. And the church wasn't built for a classroom. It was just, that was what we had available to us. We couldn't just build something, nor do we have the resources to do it. So right now we purchased some land, and then in hopes of being able to put a building on that so that we can have some classrooms and actually have our own area so that the students can attend classes. The community is all bought into the where we're trying to go. So we have the community investment in it, and they know that it's been since I think 2012 or so. So we've had quite a few years, and they know that we're not
have
going
some
anywhere.
history. That's awesome.
And parents have choices as to where they can send their kids to,
Yeah.
and they choose our school. And I would probably say 90% of the kids in the town, and for elementary and middle school, I guess elementary school, 90% of them would they go to a private school, and they choose our private school over some of the other schools. And unfortunately, capacity, and this is us operating in the church.
Right.
Imagining having classrooms.
The
and that
ability
would
to,
do.
yeah.
And then we have a solid staff, but building, and it's really the next big thing, to put up a building and have our own space. And I think, and even today, it's like we don't really have, so we provide food, but we have to go to the market and buy the food. So we don't have our own storage side of
Right.
it. So,
And be able to possibly grow. the
grow,
food.
buy in bulk.
Yeah.
And one of my aspiration too is to transfer so that the school is not always dependent on the donors from the states, but also trying to find what it is that they can get into as well to help to provide for themselves. So self-sufficiency.
Yes.
I know it probably will never be 100%, but if I can 25, 50%,
Yeah.
I think that'll move the levers and allows us to do bigger and greater things. But to get to that point, we have to make that initial investment, unfortunately. That's the big one. But I think once we have that established, it's
Well, you've been able to do a lot with a little. I mean, your annual budget is not much.
No.
So it's pretty impressive, like the impact that you can have on the level of financial contributions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And when we, crunch the numbers, like food is actually one of it's the most expensive thing that we have to cover, and it's not an option. The kids have to be fed.
Yeah.
And that's really, honestly, one of the drivers. A kid knowing that they're not going to go hungry.
Yeah.
If they come to the school, that helps out. But it's that's the inflationary pressure on food pricing has been huge.
So it's interesting that, Labiche is in a rural area, but I understand that Haiti is one of the most densely populated countries. And so even though it's rural, there's a lot of people out there, and there's houses everywhere. Yeah. It's not like Iowa, probably, with these big plots of open land.
Yeah.
Is that right?
Yeah, Haiti is very mountainous.
Okay.
So you might have some areas that you just can't build on. And then the other side of it too, like it's particular in my town in La Biche, there's not a lot of land that's actually good to grow food. So you have you're having that issue as well. But I would say Port-au-Prince, the capital, is very populated. And as you get out to my town, the houses, they do disperse a little bit.
Okay.
But again, you don't have a lot of flat land to build a house. And being that far out, and even my grandma's house, I mean, when I left, was a mud house, basically.
Yeah.
So you pretty remote overall.
Use the land to build the house.
Yeah, so in a lot of the places, I mean, it's, shelter. It's an island life, so it's a little more focused on shelter or whatnot. But as far as land that you can actually, imagine you go on the mountain, you might have some valleys, and then whatever valleys you have, you have to kind of decide, am I going to grow or am I going to build?
Yeah.
You can't build on the side of the mountain because you don't have the tools that are needed to do so.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's really insightful to learn how they're faring and how life is in La Biche these days. How do you communicate with, is your grandma still down there? Is that right?
So my grandma has since passed, unfortunately. We have a cousin that's down there. So we still have extended family members down there, aunts and uncles and cousins. So it's funny, communication-wise, it wasn't like, maybe it might have been 10 years ago that it made communication so much easier that I can actually reach La Biche directly if I needed to. It just means that I can't call anybody, but I can send a message via WhatsApp.
Okay.
And then they'll respond back and send me a message, and that's kind of how the communication goes. If I want something more urgent, which our person that helps us, represents us in Haiti, so he's in Port-au-Prince, so I can call him if I need information.
Okay.
So it's a lot easier to coordinate with him.
So they have generators in La Biche? Or how does...
So, yeah.
Because if you're able to WhatsApp, there is some sort of device.
Yeah. So for a lot of folks, the regular person in La Biche is not going to have a generator. So what happens, and I would say phones is probably one of that's about the only electrical thing that most people use. So they got to go somewhere and get it charged, basically. But once you return home, like they don't have power running to people's houses by all means.
Right.
And most people are not going to have a generator. To give you a perspective, so for our teachers, for example, teacher salaries, right now it's pretty low, and there's always pressure we need to increase the pay, but again, we're trying to manage with the budget that we have. So they are on average maybe about $100, $120 per month.
Wow.
So as you can imagine, you could only take that so far. So you got to cut off. There's no healthcare. There's no electricity. Water you got to go to the river to get the water. You're not buying water. So really the money that you have is to food.
Yes.
And probably clothes, and then just being able to sew clothes, sewing clothes to get buying shoes or whatnot. So you don't have a lot to work with.
Yeah.
So that's why maybe it might be one generator or a solar panel per 50 people or whatnot. So just for the sake of charging their phones.
Yeah.
So.
Wow. That's it's great to get your perspective and just being able to hear what it's like firsthand. And I think listeners are probably pretty interested in how you're managing to help that remote community, and the logistics behind it is really interesting, isn't it?
Oh, yes, indeed.
So, like we mentioned, Haiti continues to face, dire humanitarian crisis. What do you want listeners to know, though, about the people and the culture of your hometown? Tell us about the personality of La Biche and the people there.
Yeah. I would say overall, their desires are probably, I mean, they're no different than ours, probably a lot more basic in nature, things that we don't typically think about. Like I said, you think about food, and you think about, in their case, being that they're more homesteaders, they're at the mercy of, rain. So sometimes if there's a drought going on, there is no recourse. So they kind of have to make it work. Whereas for us, those are not things that, we worry about as much. We don't worry about, there's, if you need food,
it's
pick
right.
one.
It
Do
is
you want to go to a restaurant
different.
and get it? If you want to buy it at a grocery store that's, it's already been made, but you don't have to worry about growing it and whether it's going to make it to a season where you can actually harvest it. Their literacy rate is very low overall. So a lot of parents, they try to, that's one of their highest priorities. And probably one of their bigger expenses, like recurring expenses, I would say, is being able to offer their kids, education.
Yeah.
But outside of that, I mean, they don't really, they don't desire that much more. I mean, they're very happy and resilient people. You go through there's life, there's people are happy, people are joyful. You go on a Monday morning, you see all these kids, all their different uniforms, everybody's walking to school.
Yeah.
So it's just the basic things that, that we seek. And I would say too, I know, what's made the news is what's going on in Port-au-Prince, the shooting and the gangs. You go to my town. I mean, I've gone down with Jane. Jane would walk around, and I would go play basketball. Jane would just walk back home.
Yep.
And so it's different. The people are different over there. I mean, we don't have a security or safety concern, and part of it's because we're so remote.
Yeah.
But it's, you have people are nice, people are very joyful, very happy. And I was having a conversation with my wife the other day. I think, that's the big thing, that we just want to be happy.
Yeah.
And quite honestly, it doesn't take too much. And these people have the basics of the
So
basics.
little.
And
they
it
find a
work.
way to be happy as well. Yeah.
And what we try to do on our end is just try to, help them to be happier.
Yeah.
With the education and really, lifting them up. Those that can be lifted and help them to see a different side of things, what's possible, and encouraging them and help them to support one another. Some things that, in the States that we're aware of it, in other cultures, it may not be as prominent.
Right.
So.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, great. I love hearing all this. So you mentioned a few hopes for 6 Degrees' future.
Yes.
So you bought the land.
Yep.
So what's the next step? Is it in process already, or are you still making plans?
So bought the land, and there's corn on the land right now that's going to be harvested first.
Oh, nice.
So they'll harvest that corn, and then that'll open up the opportunity to start building. So the cool thing about Haiti is we don't have to build everything all at once. You could go ahead and do like your foundation first. You could do it as things become available. So it could be a long process, but if we had to, I mean, obviously we're trying to build a school, so the sooner you can get it,
of course,
the better that you could.
But is it because the weather? It's like not like Iowa where you build the foundation and then winter comes and then it kind of erodes and diminishes what the work you've done. Is that what you mean?
Luckily, we don't have to worry about that piece of it.
Yeah.
Ours is more financially driven in nature, and not having the sufficient funds to actually get it to that extent. So it may be, we just take a small bite at a time if we need to, but that's the biggest barrier. And once that piece of it, that building is up, I think it opens up the possibilities there. One, with having a place to actually store food, so we can actually buy it in bulk.
Oh, that's a good
which
point.
you can avoid that whole other piece. The second piece of it is, imagine having internet. You could actually outsource some of the internet and charge a fee, which kind of helps to support the school. So you have like all these other avenues that may open up.
Those self-sustaining aspects.
Exactly.
Yeah. Great. So how can listeners help?
Yeah, I would say almost we have our website.
Yeah.
6 Degrees, You have to test me. I have I think it's 6 degrees of separation. .com or you could Google 6 degrees Haiti in Des Moines, and our website will come up.
Yeah.
That's really the big thing, and we have our fundraiser coming up on May 2nd.
Okay, May 2nd.
So,
and that's annual?
Yep, that's an annual fundraiser. So
where is it happening this year? Do you know yet?
I think, I'm trying to remember the name is, I could see it, but I can't.
No problem.
Call the name.
Okay. Well, we have time to look it up, and we'll share it on our website too.
No, that's awesome.
Yeah, that's great to know, and I hope listeners do reach out and learn more about 6 Degrees. So 6degreeshaiti.org, I think it is.
Okay. Perfect.
But yeah, I just Googled it and it came right up.
Awesome.
So thank you all so much for just enlightening us about your story and what 6 Degrees is doing, and it's so unique. So what a great story to share with our listeners.
Oh yeah, and I would be remiss to not thank our donors that has helped us, over the years. They've been marching with us through thick and thin, as things come up and we find successes, and as Jane would say, we are moving in the right step, and if it was easy, it would have been done already. So thank you for the persistency, the resiliency. We know that you have other priorities, to donate your time and your monies to. And we really just appreciate the consideration and putting 6 Degrees on that map as well. I rest assured that I play a personal part on it, and we make it our business to go down and keep track of everything. Mm-hmm. And our initial foundation was to be able to give people a direct way to help without any overhead whatsoever. So like every dollar that we raise goes directly to helping the school and helping the students. So thank you for everything, for all the listeners listening, and thank you for having me here. It's appreciated.
Absolutely. What a gift. So listeners, again, 6degreeshaiti.org. Learn more how you can help and get involved. Also, thank you for listening to Give and Grow Des Moines. You can listen to us on any of your favorite platforms and on our website, giveandgrowdsm.com. Thanks so much for being here.
Thank you, Siobhan, for having me. It's been a pleasure.